If someone asked me to name a bug-type Pokemon, Butterfree would probably be the first one to enter my head. This line, along with the Weedle line, were mostly introduced to demonstrate evolution at a very low level, and therefore they don't have the greatest base stats, but that's not going to stop us trying to give Butterfree a good solid run. Now, as we're getting ready for our half hour or so with Butterfree, I'm going to mention that we'll be evolving right at the very beginning of this run. It really is the only way to get through in a quick time. Unfortunately, neither Caterpie nor Metapod really is good in battle whatsoever. We need to be the final form to make progress as quickly as possible. It's a theme across both of the Generation 1 early bug-type Pokemon, and that's got me thinking, what is your favourite early bug-type Pokemon? For me, it has to be Orbeetle from Generation 8. I love the Bug-Psychic combination, and I really wish it was available in this generation. But for now, let's turn our attention back to Caterpie and look at our stats. We are level 5 with 19 HP, we're holding a berry and our moves are Tackle and String Shot. We've got 8 in attack, 9 in defense, 7 in the specials and 9 in speed. So at the moment our base stats are very low, you can see that on the graph, so we are going to have to try and battle as many wild Hoppip as possible. Our first encounter was in fact a Hoppip, and that means that we can get to tackling straight away. We're not going to be hit by Hoppip as it only has Flash, and we knock it out in just a few tackles. On our way up to Mr. Pokemon's house we encounter another Hoppip, and it's against this Hoppip that we use another 4 tackles including a critical hit, and we grow to level 7. At level 7 we get our first evolution and we go from Caterpie into Metapod. It's going to be a short but sweet time with Metapod, but we'll at least show off our hardening Metapod to both Mr. Pokemon and Professor Elm, and after we finish chatting with Professor Elm he gives us a Pokédex, Mr. Pokemon kindly heals us up, and we start making our way back to Cherry Grove. I do a little bit more grinding on the routes down back to Cherry Grove, and we eventually grow to level 10. At level 10 we get our second and final evolution of the run, and we are a Butterfree. And now the run can well and truly begin. I really wish we could have started with a Butterfree, but because of the rules of the challenge we had to start with a Caterpie. The good thing about growing to level 10 is we also learn Confusion, and that's very fortuitous for us because Butterfree is a special attacker and not a physical attacker. We get through the rival in just a couple of confusions, we make our way back to Professor Elm's laboratory, we call the rival triple question mark as we always do, we ignore the egg subplot, and we can make our way up to Violet City. In this run it makes sense to run the Sprout Tower first because not only do we have a super effective move against Bellsprouts, we also quad resist their Vine Whips. So we start ascending the Sprout Tower, and on the second floor I encounter my first ever shiny. I paused the timer because I had no idea what on earth to do, and I caught it, and this happened just before the shiny we got on the Tauros stream. So in the space of a couple of weeks I now have 2 shiny Gen 2 Rattata. I really don't know what I'm going to do with them. Now against Elderly at the tippy top of the tower we encounter a pair of Bellsprouts and a Hoothoot. We knock, and after knocking out the final Bellsprouts we're going to grow to level 14. At level 14 we learn Stun Spore. So it's goodbye to Tackle, which got us through the very first part of the run, and hello to Stun Spore in its place. It's going to be a very circumstantial move, however there are a couple of situations where we might want to paralyse a Pokemon. But now that we're out of Sprout Tower we have no choice but to take on Falkner. He's our first gym leader together, he's a flying type specialist who leads with Pidgey. I bigged up this battle in my head because we have the type weakness and we also have low physical defense. However we one-shot the Pidgey and then we confuse the Pidgeotto and two-shot it to knock it out, and we grow to level 15. At level 15 we learn Sleep Powder, and that's going to be carrying us through an awful lot of this game. And now that we've officially made our move choice, we've completed the gym battle, and we've obtained the Zephyr badge in a time of 12 minutes and 54 seconds. Let's now start heading south towards Azalea Town via the Union Cave. In the cave we're going to pick up the TM for Swift. Unfortunately in this generation Swift is a physical move, however it's still a base 60 power move, and it will also never miss, so there are some benefits to using it, and I don't think we're going to be using Harden for the rest of this battle either. But now that we're out of the Union Cave we'll head into the forest and we'll pick up our HM friends. And the first of the HM friends to show their face today is Psyduck. Psyduck's going to be helping us out with Surf, Strength, Whirlpool and Waterfall. And that of course means that the second Pokemon we're catching here in the Ilex Forest is Paris. Paris is going to be helping us out with Cut, Flash, Dig, and if we need it a little bit later on, they're also going to help out with Sweet Scent. And now with both of our HM friends safely tucked away in our bag, we'll head into our next gym together. This is our second gym together, it's Bugsy's Bug-type gym, and he will lead with Metapod. We start off with a Confusion little Metapod and take it deep into the red, and another Confusion knocks it out. Here comes Kakuna, and Kakuna is weak to Confusion, so we knock it out in one shot, and then we try to paralyse the Scyther. I thought this would be the best option to try and stop Fury Cutter building up. This battle goes completely wrong for Bugsy. Scyther hurts itself in Confusion, we hit it a few times, we knock it out, and we obtain the Hive Badge in a time of 20 minutes and 21 seconds. We can't celebrate for too long though, because as always, the second rival battle is just around the corner. This is Rival 2, and this time he's going to lead with Ghastly. We have a super effective move for the Ghastly, so we one-shot it with Confusion, and here comes Quilava. Quilava's got a super effective move against us, but we have very good special defense. We're able to critical hit and knock out the Quilava in 3 shots, and then it's a simple one-shot against the Zubat to finish it off, and we're through the second rival battle on our very first try. That of course means that we can start making our way through the Ilex Forest north towards Goldenrod City. The only thing we need to pick up this time in the forest is carts from the charcoal makers so we can get past that pesky tree, and once we're outside of the forest we're going to catch our third HM friend. This one is Abra, and Abra's going to be helping us out with teleport. And with Abra being very cooperative and catching on the first ball, we'll head into Goldenrod City proper, where the first thing we'll do is grab the bike. That's going to let us move at double quick speed for the rest of the run, and we'll also pick up Kenya on our way to National Park. Kenya's going to be helping us out with Fly throughout the course of this run, and goodness me, Kenya is so helpful. That's why they're my favourite HM friend. In the National Park, we'll pick up the Quick Claw so that we can have a 23% chance of attacking first. We'll grab the DTM and teach it to Paris so that we don't have to spend money on escape ropes. And then there's one last thing to do. We're going to have a little chat with Floria. She's going to tell us about the pesky tree blocking the way, and we need to get rid of it, but the only way to get rid of it is by battling our third gym leader together. This is Whitney, the normal type specialist who leads with Clefairy. We're still going to main Confusion in this battle, and we end up 3-shotting the Clefairy. We're on 62 HP as the Miltank comes out. We are taking no risks. We are 4 times weak to rollout, so we are going to try and send that counter sleep as often as possible. When it gets into one-shot range though, we can finish it off and we get to the plain badge in a time of 27 minutes and 52 seconds. I was really expecting a reset there, so I was very happy that we didn't take our first reset at Whitney. But now that we've got the Squirts bottle, we can say goodbye to the tree blocking the way and make our way into Ecruteak City and the Kimono Girls Dance Theatre. As always, I will show you the battle where we had the most difficulty, and in this instance it was against Flareon. But even this battle wasn't that terrible. It was a combination of Confusion, Swift and another Confusion to knock it out, and after defeating all 5 Kimono Girls we obtain the Surf HM. We'll be teaching that to Psyduck a little bit later on, but for now we'll head towards the Lake of Rage. On our way through Mount Mortar towards the Lake of Rage, we encounter Pokemaniac Miller. He is one of my absolute favourite trainers to battle because he has 2 fully evolved Pokemon at level 17. We grow to level 28 against the Nidoking and replace Stun Spore with Gust. We only really need one status move on our learn set, and I think Sleep Powder is going to be more beneficial than Stun Spore overall. And now that we've defeated Pokemaniac Miller, we'll leave Mount Mortar and start cycling north down Route 43. We'll grab the rare candy hidden by the tree and pop into the Hidden Power Man's house, and I will tell you this time our Hidden Power type is Ice. We're not going to be teaching it quite yet though, but it will come in very handy much later on. Before taking on anything in Ecruteak City, we're going to make a trip over to Olivine City, grab ourselves the Strength HM, we'll teach that to Psyduck along with Surf at the same time, we'll have a little chance with Jazz at the tippy top of the lighthouse, and then we'll dig our way out to do a cheeky little teleport back to Ecruteak City and think about taking on the third rival battle. This time he's going to lead with Haunter, but I think the Pokemon I am most worried about is that pesky Magnemite. Across the course of this run, we're not going to have anything good for the Magnemite line at all. So we start off with Confusion against the Haunter, and it's a simple one-shot, and now we have to rely on sending the Magnemite to sleep. Confusion is good enough and knocks off a third of its health every time we use it, so it's 3 shots to knock it out and we are on to Quilava. Once again we send the Quilava to sleep, taking advantage of those status moves, but it's only a 1-turn sleep. We do have very good special defense though, and we're able to make it through, and the final Pokemon is Zubat. Zubat's a simple one-shot with Confusion, we knock it out, and we can fall through the floor in a time of 37 minutes and 50 seconds. It's now time to release the beast and start thinking about taking on Morty. After knocking out all of the gym trainers in Morty's gym, we were just shy of level 34. And at level 34 we can learn Psybeam instead of Confusion. It's only an increase of 15 base power, but every little helps in this run, and learning Confusion really could not have happened at a better time. We are going up against two gyms now that are weak to the Psychic type, so not only will it help against Morty, it's going to help against Chuck as well. But this is Morty's dual Ghost and Poison type Spectacular gym. He's our fourth gym leader together, and he's going to lead with Ghastly. So the Ghastly comes out, and Psybeam is a simple one-shot, so he sends out his first Haunter. We one-shot Haunter as well, and then Disaster strikes with the Gengar. We don't knock it out and we get sent to sleep, and then to add insult to injury we have a full turn sleep. We do not wake up and we cannot knock out the Gengar. I think we can safely award the worst RNG luck in a recent run to this battle here, so let's try again. I'm holding the Mint Berry this time. I was trying to save that for a much later battle, because Mint Berries are very thin on the ground in Johto. However, we did consume it in this battle. We one-shot his final Haunter though, and we obtained the Fog Badge in a time of 40 minutes and 41 seconds. I think though, one reset at Morty is not bad for this part of the run. We've been against some trainers that had a real chance of knocking us out. But now let's start surfing over the open seas into Cyanwood City, where the first thing we'll do is grab the secret potion for Jasmine, and then we'll pop into Chuck's gym. Chuck is a fighting type specialist, which means we have a quad resistance, and he's going to lead with Primeape. In this battle, Confusion and Gust are going to be much of a muchness with their power, so we'll interchange between the two using Confusion for the Primeape, and then we're going to get to Gusting the Poliwrath. We send it to sleep on turn 2, but he does use a full heal, but at this point it really is over for him already. A combination of a couple of Gusts and a Psybeam knocks it out, and we are through our 5th gym battle and acquiring the Storm Badge in a time of 43 minutes and 18 seconds. Of course, the Storm Badge is only one of the 2 things you get as a reward for defeating Chuck. You also get the Fly HM of Chuck's wife. We can't learn Fly as a Butterfree, so we'll teach it to Kenya the Spearow. We'll fly to the Lake of Rage and we'll engage the Red Gyarados in battle. Once again, we're going to try and send this thing to sleep because we don't have the best HP in the world, and that Gyarados has Dragon Rage. But in this instance, the RNG went in our favour, the Gyarados gets knocked out, and that means we can trigger a conversation with the Liar with the Flyers. He starts yabbering on about all sorts of nonsense that I wasn't really listening to, and I can inform you that absolutely nothing happened in the Mahogany Underground, so we'll skip to the end where we get the Whirlpool HM off Lance and we'll make our way into the next gym. This is Price's Ice-type gym, a gym where we have a type disadvantage, and he was going to lead with Seal. We've got to be very, very careful in this gym because we do have a type disadvantage and Blizzard will hit like a truck. And so that means we're going to have to use status conditions to our advantage. We're going to have to try and send to sleep, and we're going to have to try and confuse. We 2-shot the Seal with Psybeam and we are on to the Dugong. Dugong gets sent to sleep straight away, and it's looking like it's going to be a 3 or 4 shot. We get hit by an Aurora Beam twice and we're only on 24 HP. That grows up to 27 HP because we leveled up. And then the final Pokemon is Piloswine. We are relying on luck and luck alone at this part of the battle. Blizzard misses as Piloswine wakes up, so we send it straight back to sleep and we get to Gusting. Piloswine stays asleep and that lets us knock it out with another Psybeam, and we are through Price in a time of 50 minutes and 5 seconds. That's 6 gym badges acquired. Let's now leave Mahogany Gym and go and pick up some bits that we need around the Johto region. Our first destination on our tour of Johto is going to be Violet City, where we'll pick up the rare candy just south of the Sprout Tower. We'll go into Slowpoke Well to pick up the King's Rock from the lovely man with the glasses, and then it's a trip into Goldenrod City. We've got quite a few things to pick up here in Goldenrod City, the first being the return TM from the department store. We'll make our way back outside and start cycling south towards the daycare, where we'll pick up the nuggets so that we can buy some vitamins and the rare candy as well. After that, it's a quick fly back to Olivine City, where we're going to have a little chat with Jazz, and just before taking her on, we're going to teach Hidden Power. So it's goodbye to Gust and hello to Hidden Power Ice in its place. Ice is going to provide much better type coverage than flying type moves will, and we are also going to be playing with our much better special attack than our physical attack. We teach Return at the same time and then cycle into the gym where Jasmine is waiting for us. This is our 7th gym together. It's Jasmine, the Steel type specialist, who leads with Magnemite. And Magnemite is one of very few Pokemon that we don't have anything great against, so we're just going to reset until we're able to send both of them to sleep, and then we're just going to have to keep on spamming Psybeam. We get through the first Magnemite in 3 shots, and then we've just got to do it again for the second. The big issue I foresee in this battle is Steelix. These Magnemite are just pests. We critical hit to knock out Magnemite number 2, and here comes the Steelix. Rock Throw hits us for huge damage, but Sleep Powder hits on turn number 2. We are neutral with Hidden Power Ice, so we hit it twice to knock it out, and we get through Jasmine in a time of 53 minutes and 41 seconds. Overall, that was a much smoother battle than I was anticipating. Let's see if we can keep this good fortune going as we head into the next rival battle. This is Rival 4, and this time he's going to lead with Golbat. So Golbat has the type advantage over us, but we send it to sleep, and then we're going to use Hidden Power Ice to knock it out in one shot. And the next Pokemon is Magnemite. Once again, we send it to sleep on turn 1, we use Psybeam to take off over half health, and we finish it off with a Hidden Power Ice. The rival's third Pokemon is Quilava, and once again we have the type disadvantage, so we have to send it to sleep. It's a couple of Psybeams to knock it out, and then finally we get a little respite in this battle as we have the type advantage over his Haunter, so that's a one shot, but it is small mercies as we're back to having the type disadvantage with the Ice type Sneasel. Once again we have to send it to sleep, and a couple of Hidden Powers knocks it out, and that means we're through the fourth rival battle in just under an hour. We'll now climb to the top of the radio tower where we'll get the pink bow off Marie. We're also going to get the radio card from the lady at the desk, and we can make our way back to Mahogany Town. From Mahogany Town, it's a quick trip east into the Ice Path where we have a couple of bits and bobs to pick up. The first, of course, being the Waterfall HM so that we can get up that pesky Waterfall on our way to the Pokemon League, and the second is the Nevermelt Ice. This is going to give us a 10% boost to our Ice-type moves, and this is just in time as well because we are about to face our 8th gym leader together. This one is Claire, the Dragon-type specialist who will lead with Dragonair. And because of our Hidden Power type, the first 3 Dragonair are going to be easy. It's a simple one-shot on all of them to knock them out so we can focus entirely on the Kingdra. We don't have anything too great for the Kingdra, but we can send it to sleep and hope for the best. Hidden Power doesn't take off over half health and it wakes up on turn 1, so we send it straight back to sleep. Then we just start spamming Return Against it to eventually brute force our way to victory, and we get through Claire in a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 57 seconds. Because of Claire's nonsense, we get the badge at 108.45, but with that we have all 8 Jotonian gym badges. There's only one thing left to do, and that is make our way towards the Pokemon League. We pick up the rare candy on Route 26 and head into Victory Road, and there's nothing for us to pick up in Victory Road this time, so it is straight onto the 5th and final rival battle. And once again, this is going to be one of those battles where we're going to have to rely on sleep. It just so happens with the way the rival's team is made up, we have the type disadvantage to the majority of his Pokemon, so we're going to have to use the status moves to our advantage. Sneasel and Golbat aren't an issue, but out comes the Magneton, and this is a real sticking point for our Butterfree. We have nothing great against the Magneton line. In choosing Hidden Power Ice, we sacrificed the opportunity to one-shot Magneton with Hidden Power Ground. I think it was a fair trade because we've had very few resets up until this point, but it does mean we run the risk if our status moves fail of Magneton completely crippling us, and that's what happened in this battle, and we take our 3rd reset of the run. It's always frustrating when I have to take a reset, but I am very impressed that Butterfree has only had 3 resets up until this point, and with a Pokemon like Butterfree you're always going to have to rely on status conditions to get through. We have much better luck on this second rival battle though, and we're able to send the Magneton to sleep on turn 1. And then we get to using a combination of Return and Hidden Power Ice to finally knock out the benighted thing. Although as a final parting gift from Magneton, we get critical hits by Thundershock, just to take us down to 95 HP for the Typhlosion. We send the Typhlosion to sleep and we confuse it with Psybeam, and then we just get to brute forcing. We finally have a Pokemon staying asleep for the entire duration it takes us to knock it out. We knock out the Haunter in one shot, and the final Pokemon is Kadabra. We use Return to knock it out, and we are through the final for the rival time of 1 hour, 15 minutes and 2 seconds. Let's make our way into the Pokemon League, where we'll absolutely heal up our Butterfree after the battering it took at the rival. We'll say thank you to our HM friends, so thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck and to Paris. You've all been a huge help in the Johto region. Get some well-deserved rest as our Marge takes on the league. We'll of course buy our full restores, we'll either need them or we won't, and let's take a look at our stats. We are level 53 with 159 HP. We're holding using the Never Melt Ice with Psybeam, Sleep Powder, Return and Hidden Power Ice. We have 89 in attack and 94 in defense, 129 in the specials and 114 in speed. These of course are the out of battle stats. We'll get a little buff from those badge boosts in battle, but let's see if that's enough to take us through our first league member. This is Will, the Psychic type trainer who leads with Johto. Our special attack is more than powerful enough to take care of Johto in one shot, and then we don't send the Jinx to sleep. Sleep Powder does hit on turn number 2 though, and we 2-shot the Jinx with Return. His third Pokemon is Johto number 2, and once again it's a one-shot with Hidden Power Ice, and they are the big threats out of the way for this battle. We use Sleep Powder against the Executor and then get to Hidden Power Icing that. It's a one-shot on the Executor, and his final Pokemon is Slowbro. Now, we don't have anything good against the Slowbro at all, especially because it starts swearing at us. We're just going to have to brute force and hope that we survive, which we do thanks to a critical hit, and we are through Will in a time of 1 hour, 16 minutes and 45 seconds. Our second league member is Koga, the Poison-type specialist who leads with Ariados. We knock that out in a single Psybeam, and he sends out Crobat second. Crobat instantly starts double teaming, hits us with Toxic and also hits us with a wing attack, and I decide to take the reset. We're back onto the Ariados and we are now on reset number 5. Let's see if we can get through this pesky Crobat this time. We send it to sleep on turn 1, but Crobat only wanted a tiny little nap. He hits us with a wing attack before we knock it out with 2 Hidden Power Ices, and that brings us on to Venomoth. We use a couple of Psybeams to knock it out and we are on 78 HP for the Fortress. Much like Magneton, we don't have anything great against the Fortress, so we're going to send it to sleep and get a very lucky critical hit with Hidden Power Ice. 2 further Hidden Power Ices knocks it out and we are on to the final Muck. This Muck is going to be sent to sleep straight away, and then a couple of Psybeams is all it takes to finish Koga off, and we are through him in a time of 1 hour, 18 minutes and 20 seconds. Our third league member is Bruno, the fighting type specialist who leads with Hitmontop. And hallelujah, we finally have a type advantage. We're able to knock out the Hitmontop in 2 shots as it gets confused, and he sends out Onyx. He thinks he's going to have a great time, but Hidden Power Ice is our trump card for that, and we are on to Hitmonchan. I decide to send the Hitmonchan to sleep just as a safety measure, and it's 2 Psybeams to knock it out. We are on to Machamp next, and because that thing has Rock Slide, we are absolutely sending it to sleep. We are 4 times weak to rock moves, and that would have knocked us out in 1 shot. His final Pokemon is Hitmonlee. There's no need to send that to sleep. We knock it out in 2 hits, and we're through Bruno in a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes and 12 seconds. Let's now take on Karen, our 4th and final league member. She's of course a Dark-type specialist who leads with Umbreon. We don't have anything that will be able to even 2-shot this Umbreon, so we keep it asleep and we knock it out in 3 Hidden Power Ices, and the next Pokemon is Houndoom. This thing will absolutely have our guts for garters if we don't send it to sleep, so we're going to have to use a couple of returns while it's asleep to knock it out, and we are on to Gengar. Gengar's absolutely no threat at all as we take it under half health with Psybeam, and then it swears at us to finish itself off. It's a one-shot on the Murkrow, and the final Pokemon is Vileplume. We don't quite one-shot it, but Stun Spore misses, and that means we are through Karen in a time of 1 hour, 20 minutes and 2 seconds. We're through all 4 league members. There's only one obstacle between us and the Hall of Fame. It's time for Lance, the Liar with the Flyers, who will of course lead with Gyarados. This could prove to be quite a tricky battle, because we have the Bug type and all 6 of Lance's Pokemon are Flying type. That means all 6 of them have the potential to have the type advantage over us. It's 3-shot on the Gyarados, and then fortunately because of Dragonite's 4 times weakness to Ice, we're able to knock out both of the level 47s. Lance's 4th Pokemon, however, is a huge sticking point for us. We're not able to one-shot the Aerodactyl even with the Never Melt Ice, and then Rock Slide just looks at us and says, "Go away, mate," so we're gonna have to start again. This time I don't bother with Sleep Powder against the Gyarados. We can afford to take a little bit of damage because we're either going to send the Aerodactyl to sleep or we're going to get one shot. His 2 level 47 Dragonites are still no issue at all as it's a consistent 1 hit, and we are back onto Aerodactyl. Sleep Powder hits, and that means we are in with a chance of getting through. Aerodactyl stays asleep for turn number 2 and we get to see the Charizard. This is another one of those Pokemon that needs a long nap because all of its attacking moves are super effective against us. We're able to 3-shot it with a combination of Return and Hidden Power Ice, and his final Pokemon is Dragonite. The level 50 Dragonite is not strong enough to withstand a Hidden Power Ice, and that means we're through Lance in a time of 1 hour 22 minutes and 9 seconds, and our league time is 1 hour 22 minutes and 26 seconds. And I have to say, I'm very impressed with this time so far considering our stats and typing, but this is only half the story. We have another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere. Kanto is next. And we are back, where it all began outside our home in Newbark Town, where Professor Elm has a phone call for us. He's going to give us the SS ticket to get us out of the country quick, sharp and in a hurry, and we tell him that we've got the message and we'll leave, but we're going to have to do a couple of bits first around Johto. The first is pick up our HM friends, so it's a warm welcome back to Kenya, Abra, Psyduck and Paris. They all had a lovely little rest in the Costa del PC box, and we can make our way into Mount Malta to grab one of 2 rare candies that we have left in Johto. The other one is in the Whirl Islands, and with those 2 rare candies safely tucked away in our bag, a hop, skip and a jump takes us into Kanto. And of course, the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to get another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon fan club. And with that one put away with the rest of them, we'll make our way into Saffron City, where we're going to pick up the Psychic TM. And this absolutely will be one of our strongest moves for the rest of the run. So we're going to say goodbye to Psybeam and upgrade 25 whole base power for the cost of 10 PP, and we can make our way into Celadon City. Celadon City is where our 9th gym leader awaits us, but we've got to do a couple of things first. We'll grab the leftovers from the bin, the PP up from the bush, and then we'll make our way into the gym. This is Erica, the Grass-type specialist who leads with Tangela. Hidden Power's a one-shot on Tangela, and it's also a one-shot on Victory Bell. And that brings us on to Bellossom. Bellossom's got quite a bit of bulk behind her and survives a Hidden Power Ice, but she gets herself caught in a healing loop. 2 Hidden Powers later and we knock it out, so the final Pokemon is Jumpluff. Jumpluff, much like Dragonite, is 4 times weak to ice, so we knock it out in one shot, and we acquire the Rainbow Badge in a time of 1 hour 27 minutes and 40 seconds. Erica also gave us the Giga Drain TM, so it's a brief goodbye to Hidden Power Ice as we take on Misty, and we use both of our PP ups in Giga Drain to give it 7 PP instead of just 5. It's a one-shot on Golduck, so we're on to Lapras. Lapras Rain Dances on turn 1 and we send it to sleep because it does have Ice-type moves, and 2 Giga Drains later it gets knocked out. And then the final 2 Pokemon are a mere formality, of course, because Quagsire is 4 times weak to Grass-type moves, and then Starmie doesn't put up any resistance either. That's Misty done and dusted in a time of 1 hour 32 minutes and 12 seconds. Let's move on to Sabrina, the Psychic-type specialist who leads with Espeon. And this battle is the entire reason I decided to get rid of Hidden Power Ice temporarily. Because of Alakazam's low physical defense, it makes much more sense to use Return and get her stuck in a healing loop. But sometimes even the best of plans can be foiled. That pesky Alakazam got itself a Reflect Up and takes us perilously close to being knocked out ourselves. We send it to sleep and we start trying to recover health, and a bunch of Giga Drains later we finally knock it out. That means we're going to have to play very safe against the Mr. Mime. We send it to sleep straight away, we start recovering with the leftovers, and it stays asleep for 2 turns, so we knock it out, and that's Sabrina's badge in a time of 1 hour 33 minutes and 15 seconds. And now, just before taking on Lieutenant Surge, we're going to use a Hidden Power Ice TM that I bought in Celadon Department Store. We're going to say goodbye to Return once and for all and become just a special attacker. So now, let's take on Lieutenant Surge, the Electric-type specialist who leads with Raichu. We don't one-shot the Raichu when we get paralysed, so I take an optional reset there, and we send the Raichu to sleep. Psychic is definitely not a one-shot against this thing, so 2 hits knocks it out, and here is that pesky Magneton once again. I was not a fan of Magneton in this entire run, so I was very glad to get through that on our first attempt, and then the rest of the battle should be relatively trivial. Surge does throw a spanner in the works by setting up a light screen, so we send the Electabuzz to sleep and we knock it out in 2 further shots thanks to a critical hit, and then all the electric moves are gone for the rest of this battle. It's a 2-shot on Electrode number 1, but the light screen has fallen. That means it's a 1-shot on Electrode number 2, and we get the Thunder Badge in a time of 1:35:59. And now it's time for a bit of light relief with Brock. We have Giga Drain and all of Brock's Pokemon are 4 times weak to grass type moves, so it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to realise that this will be the easiest battle we will have in this entire run. After struggling in so many battles and needing to rely on sleep to get through them, I was incredibly happy to have an entire sweep of his team. We say thank you to Brock for the Boulder Badge and for helping us get through the battle in a time of 1 hour 37 minutes and 26 seconds, and we start making our way towards Cinnabar Island. On the remnants of Cinnabar, there are a couple of things we need to do. The first is chat to Blue to get him to go back to his gym and actually do his job, and the second, of course, is pick up the hidden rare candy. And with both of those things done, we can start surfing east towards the Seafoam Islands, where Blaine has relocated. Blaine is our 14th gym leader together. He's a fire-type specialist who leads with Magcargo. Psychic isn't quite a one-shot against the Magcargo, but he just swears at us, so that's an easy 2-shot. The Magmar sets up Sunny Day, which could be dangerous, but we 2-shot that as well, and then we decide to send the Rapidash to sleep. I think a sun-boosted Fire Blast would be incredibly dangerous. The Sleep Powder is enough for Blaine to get caught in a healing loop. We knock it out in 3 shots, and that gives us the Volcano Badge in a time of 1 hour 38 minutes and 53 seconds. Our penultimate gym leader is everyone's favourite pushover, Janine, and we have Psychic on our learn set and all of her Pokemon are weak to the Psychic type. Unlike with Brock, we don't have the 4 times advantage over all of the Pokemon, but it is still a simple sweep. Janine's low levels combined with the weakness to Psychic means it's a one-shot on everything she has, and that means we obtain the Soul Badge in 1 hour 39 minutes and 32 seconds. Our final gym leader is Blue. He is a mixed type specialist who leads with Pidgeot, so we are at the type disadvantage straight off the bat. Wing Attack deals a fair amount of damage, but 2 Hidden Power Ices knocks it out. Rhydon is next, and we regain all that health we lost thanks to a single Giga Drain, and we are on to Arcanine. Arcanine is absolutely one of those Pokemon we need to send to sleep. We're going to get him trapped in a healing loop and hope for the best. He's used both of his full restores now, and Sleep Powder somehow manages to hit 3 turns in a row. That combined with a critical hit means we get rid of the biggest threat in this battle. The next 3 Pokemon aren't particularly dangerous to us, but they are going to take quite a while to knock out. So we start off with a Gyarados and knock it out with a combination of Psychic and Giga Drain, and here comes Exeggutor. We use a Hidden Power against the Exeggutor to take off over half health, and then Egg Bomb actually hits us. His final Pokemon though is Alakazam, and this thing has an awful lot of special defense. Our best bet once again is to send it to sleep and then start trying to drink it. I could have used Hidden Power here, but I decided Giga Drain just in case Psychic critical hit us. 3 shots later it's knocked out and we acquire our final badge in a time of 1 hour 41 minutes and 15 seconds. And with that, there's only one thing left to do. We fly to Pallet Town and chat with Professor Oak, we show him all of our 16 badges and he unlocks Mount Silver. That is where our final challenge of the run awaits us. So we teleport back to Viridian City, we start cycling west, we make a little detour to pick up the final rare candy of the run, and then we head into the cave. This is of course our final battle of the run. It is Red who leads with Pikachu. As always, we're going to try at our current level and then start using our rare candies if we need them. And I think in this battle it's going to be a case of when, not if, we use the rare candies. We have a lot of struggles against this Pikachu, but we're eventually able to 2-shot it with Psychic, and out comes Charizard. Charizard outspeeds Flamethrower 1-shots, and let's use our first 3 rare candies. We are now at level 69, let's see if we can do any better. At level 69 it's a speed tie with the Pikachu, and Charm works in our favour because we are going purely special attacking. We still don't outspeed the Charizard however, but we do survive on 4 HP. But unfortunately there's absolutely no way we're going to be able to get through surviving on such low health. I decide to use our next 3 rare candies, so we're up to level 72, and it's now guaranteed to outspeed the Pikachu. We knock it out in 2 shots and we are back onto Charizard. Level 72 is not the answer for Zard as we still don't outspeed it, and we take huge amounts of damage from Flamethrower. I decide to persist to see how long it would take to knock it out, but Zard wakes up and I decide to use our final 4 rare candies. So we are now at level 76. Let's see if we can do any better having used all of our rare candies. Pikachu 9 times out of 10 will be irrelevant because we're able to 2-shot it and Charm doesn't matter in this battle. we're able to get rid of it and we can turn our attention back onto Charizard. We finally outspeed it and we are able to take a little bit of hope as we send it to sleep. 3 shots later and the biggest threat so far is gone. Blastoise is next and Blastoise has Blizzard, so once again we're going to have to send the Pokemon to sleep. Giga Drain does less than half damage, but we're going to keep persevering and it's 3 shots to knock it out. And up next is the big special defensive wall of this battle. Snorlax has no option but to be sent to sleep straight away. We want to avoid Amnesia at all costs, and Amnesia would probably mean we'd run out of PP for the rest of this battle. And fortune is smiling down upon us because Snorlax stays asleep for the full amount of turns and we get through it. That just leaves Venusaur and Espeon left to go. We send the Venusaur to sleep and we use a Psychic against it and we take off over half of its health. We finish it off with a Hidden Power Ice and our final obstacle for this run is Espeon. We use Hidden Power Ice and take off roughly a third health with a critical hit. Another Hidden Power Ice takes it into the red. Psychic barely damages us at all. And we are through red in the time of 1 hour, 46 minutes and 40 seconds with only 13 resets. We might have had to use a lot of stalling techniques and a lot of stasis conditions, but what an absolutely impressive run from our very first early Bug-type Pokemon. We end up in 34th place, nestled in between Dodrio and Tauros, and while we might not have made it anywhere near the top 10 in this run, Butterfree can absolutely leave with its head held high. That of course means there's no change to the first page of the leaderboard. Our Ursaring rerun is still in first place, and that leaves Fearow in the top 10 drop zone. And our 34th place finish does mean that there is a slight change to page 3. Mantine has dropped down to 51st place, and that puts Shuckle on row 2 on page 3, all the way down in 61st place. But with that, we are done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please do leave a like. If you want to see more runs just like this, then click the subscribe button. If you've got anything to say, leave it in the comments down below. And until next time, I'll say thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.